North Carolina will get Boston College. The winner of this game does indeed get Louisville. We have 4 games coming your way tomorrow as the ACC tournament here in historic Greensboro. Pam Ward along with Stephanie White won a championship at Purdue. And we think of Stanford, we think West Coast, we think Pac-12. Welcome to the ACC tournament.
And welcome to the ACC tournament all the way back over on the East Coast in Greensboro. But this is a Stanford team that's really starting to find their rhythm at the right time. Winning 5 of the last 6, things are starting to come together.
And this is a team that probably needs no introduction. They have been one of the best teams in the country for well over a quarter of a century. 36 straight times they've gone to the NCAA tournament, trying to keep that alive after the legendary Tara Vanderveer retired.
Yeah. I mean, this is a program that you said it needs no introduction. Such great, rich tradition and history. And I'll tell you what, Chloe Carty has been one of the main reasons that this team has found their rhythm. You see what she's done over the last 5 games, but it's not just the point production, it's taking command. She did not come in this season to play the point guard position. Now she's taking command of the offense. They're much more comfortable in their roles. And for Clemson, it is all about Loyal McQueen. She had her way with Stanford the first time these two teams met. 26 points, 12 of those came from the free throw line. She broke down the Stanford defense at will. They're going to need more of that from her this evening, plus contributions from multiple players.
Now it's time for Food Lions Food for Thought. And here are Stephanie White's keys for the game.
Yeah, for Clemson, they got to get their offense going. In their losses, they are struggling from the floor, shooting it at 39%, but they can light it up. And they got to win the battle of the boards. They are 16th in the league in terms of rebounding. Got to find a way to keep Stanford off the glass. And for Stanford, contain Loyal McQueen. One-on-one defense, collective team defense. Got to make life difficult for her and own the three-point line. These are 2 terrific three-point shooting teams. Stanford needs to win that battle at the 3.
Stanford coming in, as you mentioned, Steph, winners of 5 of their last 6. That lone loss was at Virginia. And some good news, not just for Stanford fans, but for basketball fans. Nunu Aguera is available, has been cleared to play. She has not played since getting hurt at Notre Dame on February 6th, a very good post presence. And we talked to Kate Pay before the game. She said there was no time limitation. She is going to come in off the bench today, so that's great news.
It's huge for Stanford. I mean, Nunu Aguera was a go-to player for them at the beginning of the season, and they really had to retool to find themselves once she was out with injury.
And she really hurt Clemson when they played there. Aguera had a double-double, 18 points and 11 rebounds. And there she's near the top of the bench, which is always a good sign. Let's tip it again, shall we? Tiffany Bird, Eric Bruton, Saif Esho, our officials this evening. And we are underway. Stanford wearing the home whites. They have a lot of young players on this team. Clemson going with their alternate purples today. A good look from 3, and it rims out. Take a look at the starters for Clemson. Loyal McQueen, as we talked about in the open, has been very important for this team that has a lot of transfers in it. A first-year head coach in Sean Poppy, who is relying on a lot of new faces.
When you see the matchup to start the ball game, you got Brooke Dimitri that's guarding Loyal McQueen, so she can use that length that gives Stanford the ability to switch on the on-ball screens.
And Stanford, we talked to Kate Pay, the head coach, that she was, you asked her, what are you most concerned about? She said, McQueen, we got to keep her in front of us. We know how dangerous she is with this team, leading them in scoring and rebounding. And the starters for Stanford, Shea Ijiwoe is just a freshman. Mary Ashley Stevenson was the newcomer of the year in the Big Ten last year for Purdue, and now starting for Stanford. Shot clock is winding down, and a good take by Elena Boscana, a senior from Greece.
And I think this is what Stanford has to do early. They can have an advantage in the paint. It might not necessarily be off of one-on-one drives, but it can be quick post-ups. It can be dribble punches to force rotations.
Anya Poole, ACC fans know her from her time at North Carolina. This is inside. Stanford looking to run the floor, but it was interrupted nicely by Mia Moore. Sean Poppy, in his very first year, a couple of years at Chattanooga, he has never lost a conference tournament game. 2 years in the Southern Conference, 2 titles, and he is well aware of that. And Boy, a lot of high praise for Sean Poppy and what he has done, bringing over a new system. He told us his players are still getting acclimated to it. Takes a while.
A new system, 10 newcomers to this program. It does take a while. And, you know, fortunately for him, he's got some veteran players, but playing in different types of positions than they've been asked to do at their previous institutions.
After the turnover, more drives, a little bit too strong, trying to finish with her left hand.
And you got to finish those. Pam, you get those opportunities to get one-on-one to the rim. Missed layups often lead to layups at the other end.
And that is exactly what happened. There's Mary Ashley Stevenson, again, freshman of the year last year when she played at Purdue. Called to do a lot more with Aguera injured.
But you see the switch on the on-ball screen. So, yes, you might have a mismatch on the interior, but if you use the length so that they can't see it, then you can create turnovers just like that.
That is a 3-second violation. Kate Pay in her first year in charge, 17 years on the bench as Tara Vanderveer's assistant coach. And yes, won a championship as a player at Stanford in 1992. Stevenson stepping on the baseline. That is the second turnover for Stanford. Clemson now 0 for 4 from the floor. Lascana gets it. Stanford playing so far at a really good pace. Team that was around the middle of the pack as far as offensive numbers in the ACC this year. Clardy with the shot, with a whistle, and we have a foul on the Tigers.
Well, Stanford's going to use so much off-ball movement, then they're going to lead it into the on-ball action right there. And in the drop coverage, Clardy, she's much more aggressive in hunting those shots. Early in the year, she might have been a little more passive, trying to attack the rim. Now she understands a little bit more where she can get her shots and when she needs to facilitate an offense.
Foul on Porter sends Clardy to the line, a sophomore from Conway, Arkansas. She is the first player from Arkansas ever to go to Stanford.
It seems crazy to me because Stanford gets players from so many places, right? It seems.
Yeah, it's not unusual for them to have nobody from California,
right?
And
exactly.
Else
yes.
From everywhere else. Clardy delivers at the line, and Clemson still trying to find its offense. And Queen left it short.
And again, you just see in the switches, use your length. You don't have to bail anyone out. You don't have to go for block shots. If she hits tough shots, she hits tough shots.
And Stevenson bringing some good height at 6'2" to shut her down on the last trip. The drive inside and the block by Evans.
I mean, this is a great take right here and a good job by Summer Evans of getting a hand on that ball. And if you're Chloe Clardy, you exposed it right there. Coming back to that right, you might need to use that left and extend a little bit.
Evans coming up with the rebound, gets it over to Loyal McQueen, who has only taken one shot so far. Evans turns, shoots, and it's still a goose egg for the Tigers.
Look, Stanford has not been a great defensive team all season long in the ACC as you get used to playing against different types of teams that have great one-on-one players. But what they're doing early in this ballgame, forcing fadeaway jumpers, tough jumpers off the run, is really good, but can't give up wide open layups.
And that's Laura McQueen's first points. The first points for Clemson. For a couple years at Alabama, a freshman year at Georgia Tech before settling in at Clemson. Heel shut off and still was able to get the shot off. McQueen, there's that danger that KP was talking about.
Well, that was a great screen by Tessa Miller. gave McQueen just enough space to get around.
Back-to-back buckets for McQueen. Gets Clemson to within 2. We'll see some substitutions for both sides at the next whistle.
Again, good execution, taking advantage of the switch. And this is the growth for Stanford over the last 5 or 6 games. You're starting to see them understand what they're trying to get out of offense. A lot of new faces, a lot of new players in different positions, lost 60% of their scoring from a year ago, lost their starting point guard 5 games into the season.
Talana Lopolo got hurt. Had knee surgery in the offseason and then tried to come back, and they shut her down. That is no basket. Foul on Clemson as we hit our first break. It's 8-4, Stanford.
Yeah, see the illegal screen right there by Tess Miller.
The Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Ally, the bank that's your ally. Taking a look at the last 5 champions in the ACC. Virginia Tech a couple years ago, and Hannah Hidalgo, the tremendous freshman season. Niele Ivey, the head coach, made Muffet McGraw cry when Notre Dame won that. And look who still has the most ACC tournament championships. It's the University of Maryland. They've been gone a decade.
I was going to say, how long has it been since Maryland's been in the ACC? It's been a minute, right?
Notre Dame coming up, and you see Carolina, Duke, also right behind with NC State. NC State, the #1 seed. Notre Dame, the #2 seed this year. We're anticipating an exciting ACC tournament. Cruz comes up with the block, but Stanford holds on.
And Pam, what a game that was, right? That Notre Dame NC State game, and
double overtime.
Great shot making, great clutch moments.
Third turnover now for Stanford. Just 8-4. Neither team has made a 3-point shot. Clemson shooting just 22%. Stanford at 33. Mia Moore comes back in. Clemson, her 3rd school after Mississippi State and UAB.
And you see Clemson going to this dribble drive, really trying to find a gap in this Stanford defense.
Seen a couple of penetrating buckets by McQueen, that's it.
And those came in transition, really finding ways to use little rub screens in the open floor.
Hield has one roll off the rim. Now McQueen, a little bit of a head fake. Up, under, and in. Moya McQueen has all 6 of Clemson's points. Ogden getting it back to Clardy. Shot clock now going into skinny territory. Ogden with the miss. Good block out by McQueen, and then she went and got the basketball.
That's great defense. Stanford didn't get the ball below the free throw line, extended the entire possession.
Stanford has missed 7 of its last 8 shots. Meanwhile, here come the Tigers. Raven Thompson with the bucket and a chance for the 3-point play.
Raven Thompson had 17 points the last time these two teams met. Does a great job of putting the ball on the deck, using her body to shield the defender, and the tough finish. And this is where Stanford is going to have the problems. One-on-one defense. And then you've got to make sure that when you're on the side, you're not bailing them out by fouling. Make them hit tough shots.
Yeah, that time Demeter picked up the foul. Thompson misses a free throw. Raven Thompson in the overtime win against Stanford in the regular season had 3 threes. The rest of her team were 0 for 13 from distance, and this is a Clemson club, which you mentioned, relies on the 3 quite a bit. They still were able to win that game in overtime, thanks to an 8-0 run to close the game. But meanwhile, boy, Stanford just can't get one to fall.
No, lots of missed opportunities right at the rim.
Yep. They've missed 8 of their last 9 shots. Gone about 3 minutes without a point. Stevenson brought the ball down, and it was grabbed.
That was Moore. Great hustle by Mia Moore to get in there. You can't bring it down if you're Mary Ashley Stevenson. And you see right now, too, Stanford is attacking one-on-one. They're playing in a 2-man. They are much more successful, or have found much more success in their off-ball screening actions, but the passes are just a little bit late. So Clemson doing a good job of being disruptive and putting pressure on the ball.
McQueen, the lefty with the smooth shot. Clemson takes its first lead of the game. And McQueen with 8 of their 10 points. Stevenson looking for some answer. Here's Clardy, who drives and draws the foul. Mia Moore picks up her first. An opportunity for Stanford to break this scoring drought, which is now 3.5 minutes long. Anya Poole coming back in. Tessa Miller. And Clardy heads to the free throw line. Sunday night here on the ACC Network, we have the ACC Wrestling Championship from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Coverage of the finals begins at 8 Eastern. Check it out on the ACC Network.
Oh, that's a great take by McQueen. And again, I think if you're Stanford, you can give her a little bit more space. Force her to hit jump shots over the top of you.
Second team all ACC, number 3, Nunu Aguera.
And Nunu Aguera has checked into the game for Stanford.
Shooting 2 for the Tigers.
Number 3, a 6'2" sophomore from Minneapolis. And this is really big for them as they hope for their season to roll on. She has not played since February 6th, and there you see, boy, the improvement, tremendous from her freshman year.
She was their go-to player for the better part of the season until that injury, and you see it in the numbers, but her presence on the interior, her energy down low, her ability to play off of the elbow and give you a driver as opposed to just a facilitator and passer. Her activity on the glass, they miss so much when she's not on the floor.
And she is number 3, and she is posting up, has the ball right now. Shot clock again into single digits. They need a shot. Nunu wanted it, but Stevenson lost the ball as she was trying to drive on Poole. 4 turnovers now for Stanford.
In the lineup for the Cardinals, number 34, Tess Hill. In for the Tigers, number 14, Andy Porter.
Kate Pay telling us that everything's sort of starting to click, and we asked her about the post-Tara era, and she says that they try not to think about it. As always, they're just trying to look at things as a staff and improve. They've made some tweaks with their lineups. Shot clock is off. Here's the end of the first quarter. Porter, extra pass. There's the 3. And Clemson with an 11-10 lead after 1 quarter of play. Neither team hit a 3, but Clemson with the lead. 9 for McQueen.
So much like the last matchup between these two teams, it's the Loyal McQueen show. She really is getting to the rim at will. She's excelling in transition, using some brush screens, able to take her man one-on-one to the rim. And was Kate Pay's concern was containing Loyal McQueen one-on-one. And so far, Stanford has not been able to do it.
And you see that what she is doing, 9 of their 11 points, and the rest of her team have missed 7 of 8 shots. Clemson up 1 after 1 here in this first round game in the ACC tournament. Pam Ward and Stephanie White joining you on this Wednesday evening. This is the third of 3 games here. And another whistle. Loyal McQueen in 5 quarters against Stanford this year, 35 points. She torched him for 26 in the regular season, and Mia Moore has just picked up her 2nd foul for the Tigers, so she goes over to the bench. Another turnover. That is 5 now for Stanford, a team that only turns it over about 15 times per game. Cone, who's a really good 3-point shooter, number 5, has not hit one. That's a nice slip to the basket by Poole, and McQueen found her.
Anya Poole, assist to McQueen.
Poole had 11 points and 5 rebounds in the regular season win over Stanford. Stanford has made 3 field goals, and they have 5 turnovers. Not what you're used to seeing from them.
It's not, and you're not seeing the same fluidity on the offensive end of the floor. They're catching and holding, and on the other end, it's just a screen and roll. You get the switch, you understand the switch is coming. Great job by Poole to keep the defender behind her. But the ball's not moving quickly enough for Stanford offensively right now. It's catch, hold, stick. By that time, the defense has recovered.
Hill and Ogden change places. Ogden back on the court for Stanford, trying to find some sort of offense. They got off to a fast start. Escana's 3 is no good. And this gives McQueen an opportunity. Clues, still no 3s, but it's chased down nicely by Porter. McQueen looks back at Coach Poppy, who's directing traffic. Porter inside the Poole. They need a shot. High degree of difficulty, but Poole very nimble there on the baseline with her 2nd bucket. Ogden, a little bit of contact, able to get the basket.
And Courtney Ogden, the last 4 games, has been a spark for the Cardinal, averaging 16.5 points and shooting 56% from the floor. And for Stanford to be successful, they've got to find offense from a lot of different players.
Averaging just 6 points per game for the entire season. McQueen well short.
But that was good D. Those are the shots that you have to challenge Loyal McQueen to make consistently.
And a moving screen, offensive foul on Stevenson. That is the first for her.
Her first, team first. Lindsay lineup for the Tigers, number 32, Raven Thompson.
And I mean, Mary Ashley Stevenson is looking to try to roll to the rim and just rolls right on top of the defender.
See Aguera back on the bench. Did not play a lot. Again, playing for the first time since early February. Just cleared to play. Hardy knocked it out of bounds momentarily. Caitlin Knox is the head athletic trainer for Stanford, and Coach Pay said a lot of credit to her to try to work with Aguera to get her back, to get her cleared.
Well, and it takes time to get yourself back in. It's one thing to be cleared. It's another thing to feel like you're in game rhythm, game shape. Great job by Thompson. Thompson has that ability to attack off the bounce, to utilize her frame, to play with her back to the basket, and stretch from 3.
And Thompson, one of the players who came over from Chattanooga, where Coach Poppy was. Clardy, very difficult shot, off balance. Really good defense that time by Porter.
0 ball reversals. The ball stayed on one side of the floor the entire possession.
It's one of the things that drives you crazy, right?
It does. You see how slow the pace is for Stanford, and not the pace getting up and down the floor, but the movement in the half court, in the quarter court.
And trying to go backdoor to Clardy. McQueen was in the way, and now Stanford, Coach Page trying to get the right people on the floor, going to sub in 3. After the timeout, Clemson, after a slow start, up by 5. Have our eyes set towards the NCAA tournament. Charlie Cream's projections for the ACC. He has both Notre Dame and NC State as 2 seeds. Virginia Tech with its first team out. They had a late season loss to Boston College. Stanford in his next 4 out. And Charlie says it's highly unlikely, right, for Stanford to make the tournament unless they get to the final here in Greensboro.
Yes, Charlie said that they need to get to the final. When you look at what happened the last time that Stanford missed the NCAA tournament, this is the one I'm checking out right here, Ben. The price of gas.
Not
90
adjusted for
cents,
inflation,
what?
but still. Yeah, that's cheap. And that in 1987, by the way, that was the first championship for Tennessee.
That's right. Do you remember where that Final Four was?
I know 89 was in Tacoma, but
was it Knoxville? It might have been Knoxville.
What? You asked me, you don't know the answer?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I thought you might.
No,
because you're a wise old sage.
Old. I wasn't there.
I may have been there.
You were
maybe.
You were a puppy.
I was.
Another turnover. Just the 3rd for Sean Poppy's team. You know what? Stanford had gone 8 minutes. Has gone over 8 minutes now without a made field goal. They got off to a quick start. And Royal McQueen is the head of the snake for them on defense, and then got bodied up. That's really good defense to head her off. Tess Hill with the defense on one end, but Stanford just can't get it going.
When you're struggling on the offensive end and then you compound that with turnovers, it just makes you put so much pressure on every single possession. There's an illegal screen again by Tessa Miller.
It's a couple now on Miller. Transfer from Belmont. So we've seen quite a few turnovers in this game. Clemson with 4 points off Stanford's turnovers. Stanford doesn't have any off of Clemson's turnovers. Heel all the way across court. Aguera, a little bit too strong. Off the glass, but a good save by Ijiwowe. And then Stevens and McQueen wind up on the floor. And the ball goes to the Tigers.
Well, you see the miss, and Ijiwowe just gets in there, keeps the possession alive. Good hustle by both teams. Clemson able to come away with the possession on the held ball.
Now 9 turnovers for Stanford. 4 of those coming in less than 3.5 minutes.
The Stanford team that averages just over 14 a ball game, and these aren't necessarily forced turnovers. Clemson's not a team that forces a lot of turnovers. These are just poor passing, poor spacing, trying to create something from nothing.
Shot clock winding down for McQueen. Passes it out, gets it back, needs to shoot. Throws it up looking to draw a foul, and she does just that. Ijiwowe is a little slow getting up for Stanford.
Well, McQueen caught the ball with 30 seconds left on the shot clock and just attacked one-on-one, and this is absolutely a block. You got to play the angles. You got to try to beat her to the spot, make her hit tough shots.
So Ijiwowe heads to the bench. She is scoreless. There's only 4 players who have scored for Stanford. Stevenson and Clardy with 4 apiece to lead the way. Meanwhile, McQueen has just nipped into double figures.
It's a little reminiscent of our Duke Carolina first round matchup, right? Where both teams just really struggled to score.
The first game those two teams played in Chapel Hill, it was 8-6 after the first quarter.
It was
16-16, I think, at the half.
Stanford's got 2 points in this second quarter. They're trying to find something that gets them a little bit more movement. You know, they're getting to this middle screen roll, but not having a lot of success finding anything out of it. And more often than not, it has resulted into that right there, a turnover.
10th turnover for Stanford. Meanwhile, Clemson has not had a field goal in over 3 minutes themselves. So you see Kate Pay with her assistants, including Katie Stedding, and someone you know very well, Jeanette Poland on the staff.
Jeanette Poland, yes. We drafted Jeanette Poland with the Indiana Fever out of Stanford, and she helped us win the WNBA championship.
Whoa, with a little bit of room. But then the double comes. A three-point attempt. No one has hit a three yet. And hey, Raven Thompson has been sort of the Stanford nemesis in both of their games. 6 points off the bench today after having 17 in the regular season. This is not going to be a pretty shot chart.
It's not, but every time they're forcing Chloe Carty to the left, she's shooting that lane line runner back with her right hand, and Clemson's just doing a good job of not bailing her out by fouling. They did early in the ball game, but have not done that since.
Thompson lost it momentarily. Oh, and there is a foul, gosh, with under 4 seconds left on the shot clock.
But Pam, you mentioned it. Raven Thompson can come in and give instant offense. I mean, she has games where she'll score double figures and she can light it up, and she'll have some games where she doesn't. So that's the inconsistency for Clemson, is when they can get production from multiple players, starting with Loyal McQueen, they found success.
Oh, Thompson that time drew the double and then found Poole wide open. Raven Thompson, two-year starter at Chattanooga, finding a home with her former head coach at Chattanooga and her current head coach.
So Raven Thompson has gone to work on the back to the basket, and you'll see if we roll it right here, you're gonna see what happens as soon as she puts it on the floor. Freeze it. Okay, she gets two defenders to commit. There's no rotation on the backside. Chloe Carty is going out with a shooter, and that just leaves Poole one-on-one to the rim.
Nice minutes for Thompson, a junior out of Atlanta. It's an 8-0 Clemson run.
And if you're Stanford right now, Clemson is killing you in the paint. You've got to protect the paint. You don't need to get strung out by three-point shooting that hasn't happened.
One and done again on that trip. As heel missed in the paint.
No easy shots. Really good defense by Clemson.
We hit 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half.
Another moving screen.
Yep, we've had a lot of those tonight. That one called by their veteran official Eric Bruton. That's the first on Anya Poole. 13 foul, just the 5th turnover for Clemson. Carty puts her head down and somehow is able to get the shot off. They are not getting many offensive rebounds at all with all of these misses.
Every shot is a tough shot, though. They're not getting easy looks, but they're not really forcing defensive rotation.
Evans, that was a nifty pass. Had to contort her body to get it into Poole. 25-12. Stanford stuck on 2 points in this quarter. As another whistle blows. Remind you that coming up after the game here on the ACC Network, the Nothing But Net crew is live and in person right across the court from us with post-game coverage, highlights, analysis, and insight. Justin, we got Muffet, of course, Ivory Latta, and look, Kelly Gramlich finally sitting down to do some work.
She doesn't get a break.
After doing a couple of games over here.
Get her a snack. Come on.
Sure they'll have lots to say about this half. Interesting to get their take on how Stanford can get things going. Ogden, finally, something falls for the Cardinal. McQueen left-handed, she goes that way and puts it in.
Everybody's on the right side of the floor. They purposely put everybody on the right side of the floor so that she can go left. You got to send her to where the help is in that situation. Communication, let them know. Don't allow her to come back to the left hand. This is a good finish by Loyal McQueen.
Double foul. Fouls on number 21, Brooke Dimitri.
We have a double foul that has just been called.
Also for the Tigers,
They got Poole for Clemson, and Stanford, they got Dimitri.
into the lineup for the Cardinal, number 3, Nunu Aguera.
Second on Dimitri. And Poole, Aguera back in the game for the Cardinal.
We got to keep in mind, too, Stanford is a team who has really struggled to score on the road. They played really well at home. In 5 of their last 6 games they've won, and most of those were at home. They got the 1 win at Virginia Tech as Tess Hill gets a 2 right there. They've got to find a way to manufacture offense, get more movement in the quarter court.
Hill getting the bucket, came in 3rd this year and voting for 6th player of the year in the ACC. You see points in the paint, plus 10 for the Tigers. Between this time, goes right, got cut off. Good defense that time. Kennedy Ume, the freshman from Columbia, Maryland, forces the turnover. Shot clock is off now for Stanford. Very good second quarter for Clemson. They have outscored Stanford by 10 points. They're shooting 44%, the Cardinal just 25 for the game. And we're still looking for our first made three-pointer by either school. Barty with the ball in her hands, guarded by McQueen. Gets it back, that's a really tough angle. The 3. And that's the way we close out the first half. Stanford ties a season low in points with any quarter. They only had 6 points, but Loyal McQueen, the queen on the court, with 13 points. Clemson up 11 after 1. Time for the studio. Welcome back to Champ Week in the Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament. Game 3 of our triple header here on the first round Wednesday in Greensboro. Clemson leading Stanford 27-16. The winner gets Louisville tomorrow. Pam Ward along with Steph White. Let's be honest, not a lot of made shots, but Loyal McQueen did her job.
Yeah, Loyal McQueen was absolutely outstanding. This is exactly what Clemson needed from her. Her ability to get to the rim, to get some easy buckets, to force defensive rotation. She made all the right reads and all the right plays, and certainly was Kate Pay's concern. But look at this spacing right here. You got a shooter on the left side of the floor. You got everybody else on the right side of the floor. So that allows Loyal McQueen to come back to that strong hand. So good execution offensively. Defensively, you got to force her back into the help.
So Loyal McQueen, who is playing at her 3rd university. There you see the game summary, and it's not a lot of pretty stuff. 6 points tied fewest in a quarter this season for Stanford. Ogden with a couple of late buckets for Stanford, and Clemson taking advantage of some Stanford turnovers. And with Clemson, Stanford shooting 23%. They did get Aguera back, who was able to play for 4 minutes, but Clemson has only had 3 players make a field goal. McQueen, Poole, and Thompson are the only 3 Tigers that have hit a field goal.
Look, if you're Stanford, you've got to feel good about the fact that this game didn't really get away from you, right? I mean, you're just outside of double figures. You're shooting the ball from the three-point line on this season, 17th best in the country. Did not get anything in the first half. Probably played as poorly offensively as they played all year.
Got off to a relatively good start, and then everything got stuck. Poole able to sneak inside. She's got her 10th point. Neither team made a three in the first half. 0 for 5 for Clemson, 0 for 4 for the Cardinal, who come in as the 11 seed, and there's a made bucket for Bascana.
And I like that, the adjustment, not to just go straight to the middle ball screen after you've run your split actions. Now you're using a little bit of a back cut, some different types of movement.
Anya Poole missed that. Another good look for Poole inside, but that time she was unable to deliver. They need to get Chloe Clardy going to Stanford. She missed all 7 of her shots in the first half, averages about 10.5 per game. There's Clardy. Shot clock winding down. Bascana gets the screen from Stevenson, kicks it out to Clardy. We've got our first 3 of the ball game.
Again, good execution. So you finally get to the screen and roll, but multiple players touched the ball before you got to that point. And then you force Clemson. They didn't have a ton of rotation, but just that little bit of rotation got a wide open look.
Stanford, gosh, Poole is just chewing them up inside. A dozen now for Poole, who had 11 points in their regular season matchup. That was an overtime win at Clemson for the Tigers in January. McQueen in the open court doesn't have numbers. Spot up 3 is buried. Mia Moore with her first basket, and the first one other than Poole, McQueen, and Thompson to get a field goal.
Well, Clemson established themselves attacking the rim in the first half, and the first 2 possessions going to Anya Poole inside. That opens up the 3-point line.
And then Poole comes up with the rebound. She's from Raleigh, North Carolina. Grad transfer from UNC. That's 7 turnovers now for Clemson. Kate Pay going to bring in 3 subs at the next whistle.
You got to find a way to get some energy. Kate Pay talked to us about the reason she changed the starting lineup in the first place, because they were starting games so slow. And
so we had no threes in the first half, but a couple of quick ones here.
And both of these teams hit over 7 a game, and here you can see the rotation. You get Moore to pinch in, and an open 3 for Clardy, knocking it down. And then the answer on the other end, Mia Moore. She had a lot of space right there.
Clemson coming into this game with the 3rd most made threes in Clemson history. Just 3 away from the record. Now they're 2 away. Cohn with the miss. Cohn is an outstanding 3-point shooter. She is on, or could rather, set a new single-season record for most threes by any Tiger. Boy, they got it inside to Clardy, but the shot was taken too close to the rim. McQueen trying to go around Ogden on the switch. Moore kept her dribble going, even though she fell to her knees. Poole took steps before she drove. 8th turnover for Clemson. Nunu Aguera coming back in for Stanford. Again, played 4 minutes, did not score in the first half, was huge when they played at Clemson during the regular season with a double-double, 18 and 11. Hurt at Notre Dame in first week in February. First action since tonight. Heel, good defense by Poole. Ogden, good look at the 3, good result.
Yeah, the pass back or the shake-up is what's been there. But again, we see a little bit more ball movement. Stanford not getting it, though, much outside lane line to lane line. Sometimes you need to flatten that defense a little bit, get it below free throw line, and then you can get it back out.
Clemson with 4 players around the perimeter of the three-point line. And that just would not go down for more.
Again, you see just the cut. It's like a vacuum. You suck in all the defenders, and that gets you a wide open shot on the perimeter. And Courtney Ogden, who has been really good these last 4 games, averaging over 16 points a ball game, knocks down the 3.
And another 3. Stanford's heating up.
Oh, this was what we talked about off the top, right? Winning the battle at the three-point line. If you can trade 3s for 2s, that's a good thing for Stanford.
Tess Heel with that 3. Clemson has gone 3 minutes without a point. McQueen usually can make that in her sleep. They get a second chance, another 3. Here we go.
Great job by Clemson, just staying with it, getting extra possessions, hustle plays on the offensive glass.
Nia Moore with her second 3 of this quarter. Stanford already with 11 points. That's their highest scoring quarter of this game. And they got that midway through. O'Gara can't deliver on the drive. McQueen gets it back to Thompson. The trail 3. Nothing but net.
Well, it's the team in Clemson that does such a good job of spreading you out. And when they found success, they shot the ball at a high clip. And they're doing a really good job of stepping up and knocking shots down with confidence.
That's a walk. And that 3 that Raven Thompson hit just set a new single-season record for Clemson. Their 215th of the season. Heel doing it on this side, but then Thompson coming down and setting a new single-season team record for the Tigers. 15 of the 18 ACC teams made the women's tournament. Boston College with the come-from-behind win over Syracuse earlier today. Virginia beat Pitt. And right now we have Clemson beating Stanford, and they will play Louisville next. And there are the Cardinals in the stands watching the game tonight. Louisville beat both Clemson and Stanford in their building during the regular season. Now, 3-pointers in the first half. The 2 teams were combined 0 for, and in the second half, it has been a different story. You see, just for Clemson, well, the 2 teams have combined to go 6 for 8, and Clemson, with that last 3 by Thompson, setting a new single-season record for made 3s.
See how much quicker Clemson's cutting, moving in the quarter court. You get better looks when you're moving at a higher pace.
Raining 3s in the second half. Cruz gets her first points. Coming back from a knee injury that shut her down after 13 games last year. Got in the passing lane. Clemson on a 9-0 run after Stanford made a bit of a dent. But this is Clemson's biggest lead of the game. Stanford on the outside looking in, trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the 37th straight year, but things are not going their way right now. The long ball, a 12-0 run. Moore with the 3. Everything going Clemson's way as Stanford takes it. Welcome back. The 2 teams combined 0 for 9 from 3 in the first half. Clemson particularly heating up here.
Well, Clemson has been a team that likes to shoot it from 3 all season long, and they're starting to find their rhythm. They started the ball game attacking the rim, getting some easy buckets, and that has opened up the perimeter for them here in the second half, and they are stepping up to the challenge.
Yeah, Raven Thompson has hurt them in both games they have played, and yes, a new single-season program record for made 3s as a team. For Clemson, they have 5 players who shoot at least 36% from distance. Stanford with a rare second chance opportunity off the offensive rebound. Again, these two teams played in Clemson in the regular season. Clemson won in overtime. In that game, plus the first half of this, they missed 19 of 22 threes. In this half, they're 5 of 11, pardon me, just in this quarter. So that three-point shot that you mentioned that's been so important is working for them, and they have been able to extend this lead. Stevenson at the line after being fouled by Klus.
Well, and in that first matchup, Stanford was up 4 with a minute and a half left in that ball game, and Clemson outscored them 8-0. And this is a Clemson team that, we talked to Sean Poppy, and he said, this group has done a great job of laying the foundation for what we're going to be about. We're going to play hard. We're going to play for each other. We're going to share the basketball. And Stanford coming out with a little 2-1 full court pressure. Stanford not a team that turns the opponent over very often, but they've got to find a way to get stops in multiple possessions.
Going back door, great connection. Moore with the finish.
I mean, this is just a great job by Clemson. Breaking the press, staying patient, good job of lulling the defender to sleep by Mia Moore and taking advantage. That's Mary Ashley Stevenson guarding on the perimeter, a post player guarding Mia Moore, and Moore takes advantage.
Yeah, terrific pass by Miller. Moore has 11 points in this game, all of them coming in the third quarter. Was shut out in the first half.
And Mia Moore is a player that Sean Poppy said was critical for them to get going. Certainly, you know that Loyal McQueen has to be a go-to scorer, but he said Mia Moore has to be another scorer for us. We need a lot from her to be successful.
Ogden has a chance for a three-point play.
This is the second drive to the rim that Ogden has had early. Finishes this one. The previous possession, Stanford had an offensive rebound, but you can't trade buckets if you're Stanford. You got to find a way to get some stops.
Addie Porter heads over to the bench. McQueen back in the game. Clemson extending its lead, even though Loyal McQueen has not scored in this quarter. And a foul on Stanford trying to go for the rebound. That is 4 now on Ijiwowe. Freshman guard pressed into the starting lineup. Has not scored in this game, and Kate Pay's keeping her in there. We don't see anybody heading to the scorer's table. Stanford program has been to 36 straight NCAA tournaments, 3-time national champion. That was almost an ankle breaker on the move by Moore. Another three. Ogden got the rebound, but then Raven Thompson, boy, you're right. She's like instant energy off that bench.
And you have to have that. You need that person that can come in and give you a spark. And sometimes it's scoring, sometimes it's hustle plays. Great job here of just staying in the play, getting a tie up. Clemson doesn't get the possession, but those energy bursts are so important to a team.
Thompson in her first year at Clemson's first team All-Southern Conference last year with Chattanooga. Coming over with Coach Poppy. And another Stanford giveaway. Their 13th. McQueen backs out. Who is he? He's like literally directing traffic over there. Looks like he needs the things at the airport where they
in a semi-defensive stance too.
Yes. McQueen left it short. Scana. Clardy's still looking for her. It would be just her second field goal. Everything does seem to be like in slow motion, doesn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. Slow pace. Chloe Clardy cannot get herself going. Stanford continuing to struggle offensively. Clemson's energy has been outstanding in this third quarter, able to stretch.
The Ally ACC Women's Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Ally, the bank that is your ally. This basketball championship trophy will be awarded on Sunday afternoon. As we take a look at our star stories for players that have been crushing it. Brought to you by Crush, and it's been the 1-2 punch of McQueen and Poole.
Yeah, Loyal McQueen set the tone early, attacking the rim, getting some easy scores. Then it became finding Anya Poole. And then in this third quarter, Mia Moore comes to work as well. So getting multiple players involved, production from multiple sources for Clemson. But more than anything, they've dictated tempo, their energy, their effort, their pace on both ends of the floor.
Pam Ward and Stephanie White joining you. Third of 3 games on this first round Wednesday in the ACC tournament. Agara just picked up her first foul. Stanford, by the way, 30 points through 3 quarters, ties for their fewest in 15 minutes during that time. They also scored 30 points the first 3 quarters against Notre Dame.
Well, you think about the fewest, because this is a Stanford team that has struggled to score. I mean, with the exception of the last 6 games, throughout the course of the season, we've seen them really struggle.
They did come in winners of 5 of their last 6, but did play a lot of teams that were towards the bottom part of the ACC standings.
And played at home in many of those wins.
Which makes a difference.
But you think about Stanford coming from the Pac-12 into a league like the ACC with its speed, with its athleticism, with the guard-dominant league that can get downhill, guarding one-on-one. It's been a big adjustment for both Cal and Stanford.
Agara, tough angle. Ogden there to clean it up. Ogden now into double figures with 11, and here's some pressure off the make.
It's got to be pressure after every shot. You got to force some turnovers, get more possessions.
But McQueen just blasts right through it with her speed. Ogden tipped it. Heel hit the deck. Chaos leads to a timeout taken by Sean Poppy. His team is up 16. Timeout in Greensboro. Welcome back. Clemson with a 16-point lead. It was the Loyal McQueen show in the first half. She had almost half of their points. Since then, she has not scored, but her teammates have picked it up, particularly from 3-point range. Raven Thompson has been great off the bench. Clemson hit 5 of their 7 threes in the third.
I love how aggressive they were to the paint. You know, and Sean Poppy told us they were going to use a little bit more dribble drive. They felt like they had an advantage getting to the rim, and then that got them confidence and allowed them to stretch the floor here in the second half.
"20 seconds to shoot." Winner again gets Louisville tomorrow. We have 4 games on the ACC network for you. McQueen gets it over to Kluse, who has a chance to shoot free throws, and Coach Poppy applauds that effort over on the sideline.
Team second.
Well, you could see Sean Poppy was not happy with his team prior to the timeout. Really wanted to talk to them about what are our goals right now. Moving the ball, time and score, attacking the rim. You're not going to get too conservative, but you still got to play Clemson basketball.
Next gymnastics meet is Sunday at 5 Eastern on the ACC network, part of the Elevate the Stage quad. 4 schools compete against each other in 4 skills: bars, beam, vault, and floor.
Say that 4 times.
That's all hard stuff. That is a lot going on in the ACC network as we hit the beginning of March. All the spring sports are in full sway. And tournament basketball. Tipped out, 16 seconds to shoot. Kennedy Ume, freshman from Maryland, comes in for Buscana, who is a senior. Could possibly be her last collegiate game. Stanford with a winning record could have an opportunity to play in a different postseason tournament, but the NCAA will be out of reach. There's the block by Ume, who just came in.
Kate Pay talked about Kennedy Ume and her impact, and you see it right here on the perimeter. Really the only true center that Stanford has. Does a good job of protecting the rim.
Says she wasn't really much of a factor at the start of the ACC season and has worked hard. A lot of adjustments with all these new faces. New head coach. Ogden off balance. Ogden just a sophomore. And that's the silver lining for Stanford. They have really good underclassmen here, and they're getting 3 McDonald's All-Americans next year.
Yes, 3 McDonald's All-Americans. I mean, this is the team that lost 60% of its scoring. Well, certainly you understood you were going to lose Cameron Brink. Maybe didn't expect Kiki Uriafen. And then your starting point guard in Lopolo goes down, and you know, just having to retool throughout the entire season.
Hill picks up her first.
And Pam, one of those McDonald's All-Americans coming into Stanford was an old AAU teammate of mine's daughter.
Oh my gosh.
Alex Deschmeyer.
A second generation.
Yes, Christina Diviak, that I played AAU basketball
Wow.
with, played at Northwestern.
Now you played against Kate Pay too, right?
I did play against Kate Pay in a USA Basketball Sports Festival. At the time, I was in high school, and I remember thinking Kate Pay was like the strongest guard I'd ever seen, right? She was tough.
She still looks like she's in pretty good shape over there. Stanford class of 95. Played for the one and only Tara Vanderveer, now second most wins in women's basketball history now that Gino has passed her. Blocked there by Evans. McQueen loves these situations. Evans, after the block, hits the three.
Summer Evans coming off a game against Virginia Tech where she had 13 points and was 2 of 3 from the three-point line.
Evans, a grad transfer from Mercer. Before that, played a couple years at North Florida. Underneath, Stevenson to Ume. Ume gets her first basket. Oh, I thought Thompson was going to pull it.
I thought she was too.
Trying to go in, and the play by Aguera to force the turnover. Aguera working the baseline. Very nice. Nunu Aguera gets her first points since early February, coming back from an injury. She is just a sophomore. Minneapolis, a lot of talent coming out of Minnesota. Paige Beckers,
Yeah,
pretty good.
it's pretty good.
McQueen, they left her open at the screen by Poole. And the ball stays with the purple people.
You know, one of the words that Sean Poppy used when we were talking to him pregame about the culture of this team and what he really wanted to see is energy. And you can see this. This is a team who came limping into the ACC tournament. I mean, 2 of their last 9 games were wins. And you see the energy from the jump, and they have continued that. And not just the players who started the ball game, but every player who stepped foot on the court has come with that energy.
Mia Moore. Moore now with 14. Second most threes on this team during the regular season. Behind Cone, who has not scored. Just won't roll in for Ume.
Well, Cone has struggled the last few games from the three-point line. 0 of 10, the last 2 coming into this ACC tournament.
She's 0 for 3 tonight. She's not gotten a lot of playing time. They've had others who've filled in really nicely.
And this is where Loyal McQueen's experience comes into play. Now, time and score management, working the clock, getting her team into offense.
Poole, guarded by Ume, who got a hand on it. Kennedy Ume, some good stuff off the bench for Stanford, but they are in a deep hole, down 57-38.
And Stanford not a team that plays fast, right? Not on the offensive end, not on the defensive end, by creating turnovers and, you know, steals for scores.
So not a team built for a big comeback.
No. I mean, it's got to be getting some turnovers, knocking down some threes, but there's got to be more urgency. You know, the way that Stanford has the potential to shoot the three, you're never really out of a ball game, but you've got to be able to get stops and you've got to be able to get some quick possessions.
17th in the nation in three-point percentage this year.
Yet you can't use 20 seconds on the shot clock every possession.
3 of 10 from long range in this game. All 3 of those threes coming in the second half. But yeah, good showing for Clemson. They hang on. They will take on Louisville for the second time this year. They just lost to them less than a week ago on the road. Foose not thrilled with that foul call that will send Demeter to the line. 3 on Maddie. And it's a foul on a three-point shot, so Brooke Demeter heads to the line. Gets her first point of the night, a senior from Foothill Ranch, California. First-year starter for Stanford. The Pac-12 3 times won the regular season championship, also the 2012 tournament champions, the Pac-12, which unfortunately is no more. Cal, the other Pac-12 team, coming over into the ACC this year, and we will see them tomorrow take on Virginia.
And what a great job Sharman Smith has done with Cal. Certainly coming into the ACC and what they've been able to do, but just continuing to chip away and rebuild that Cal program.
They were picked to finish 14th out of 18 teams. They finished 7th, got the single bye, and will take on UVA. We'll have that game for you tomorrow night at 5 Eastern time. And then we're going to have Louisville against Clemson, unless Stanford has a historic comeback. Stevenson. Anya Poole's had a solid game, and then was fouled by Ogden.
When you think about the experience of Anya Poole, I mean, Anya Poole is a player on this team who's played in 7 NCAA tournament games, made a deep run with North Carolina, so she's been there. She understands what it takes. And, you know, 10 newcomers on this team for Clemson. Certainly 3 came with Sean Poppy from Chattanooga. They returned 4 players from a season ago, but a lot of new pieces that coming together. And you saw the inconsistencies throughout the course of this season, but coming here tonight, really making a statement.
Toscana just picked up the foul. And you mentioned Anya Poole, yes, at North Carolina, the 7 NCAA games, and started on the Sweet 16 team back in 2022. And you know, head coach of the Indiana Fever, and experience. How important is that?
There's no substitute for experience. And you know, this is a team in Clemson that has that. Anya Poole has been in these situations. She's played various roles on those teams for Carolina.
Cluse heads to the free throw line. Clemson actually shooting better from 3 in this half than they are from 2-point range. 7 of 10 from distance for Sean Poppy's club. 3 of 14 inside the arc. As we remind you to stay with the ACC network, the Nothing But Net crew is all set. They're going to have post-game coverage, highlights, analysis, insight. They will look ahead to tomorrow's second round, where we will have 4 games, starting with North Carolina and Boston College at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
It's going to be interesting to see. North Carolina struggled with injuries down the stretch. Lissa Usby, Renaya Kelly.
And will they be available? Coach Courtney Banghart told us that Usby will come back this year. Wants to get that rebounding record that Bernadette McGlade holds. I think she's about 41 behind her. But without Renai Kelly, they're an entirely different team.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a huge hole for them. They don't really have a backup point guard, not that can do the things that Renai Kelly can do. Having their floor general, the person that sets its own, understands time and score. It was already difficult without Usby on the floor because of all of the different things that she does, but without Renai Kelly, it puts you in a hole.
Yeah, we saw that in person when they played Duke a couple of games ago. O'Gara gets the free throw. Second team all ACC for the sophomore. Not 100% coming back from her injury. More, so use that experience, get it back to McQueen, who just looks over at coach, saying, what do you got? Shot clock, an issue. Ogden comes away with it. Just the 11th turnover. That's nice to see from Nunu. He's got 6. Give Ogden the assist.
And Clemson just, again, still maintaining that same pace with which they're doing things with, but now understanding time and scores. Clues gets a 3. But now understanding time and score, so much more patient in when they're attacking.
The three ball certainly has been the story in the second half for Clemson as they have blown this game open. O'Gara. Looking forward to some more great things from her next year for this Stanford Cardinal team, but what a run it has been for Stanford. Six straight NCAA tournaments, 15 Final Fours, 27 Pac-12 championships. And the NCAA string is going to end here in 2025. Let's take a look at the dynamic play of the game, brought to you by T. Rowe Price.
Mia Moore got hot in the second half. 4 of 5 from the three-point line. That one from dead center, top of the key. Coach loves it. It forced a timeout. Everybody on the bench loves it. And now Mia Moore celebrating the crowd.
And what a game. A total team effort for Clemson. Royal McQueen got them off to a hot start in the first half. And they were lethal from outside the arc, and they're going to be moving on to play against Louisville tomorrow. Stevenson inside, bottled up. As Coach Poppy is clearing his bench. And for the Stanford Cardinal, got to be sinking in right now. Their NCAA dream is over, not necessarily postseason opportunities. But what a run it has been.
It sure has. I mean, certainly one of the most storied programs in women's basketball.
Only Tennessee has been to more consecutive NCAA tournaments than Stanford. Tennessee has been to every single one. But they are bested by the Clemson Tigers. (17 for Royal McQueen. Moore 4 of 5 from 3. And Sean Poppy's team will take on Louisville. That will be tomorrow evening. And Sean Poppy He's Mr. Perfect.
He sure is. How about that stat? What an outstanding stat for Sean Poppy, but he had his team prepared. They were ready to go. They understood where their advantage was. They attacked that advantage early in the ballgame, got themselves into a flow on offense, and then on the defensive end of the floor, locked down.
They win it 63-46. Stanford shot just 31% from the floor. Clemson led by one after one quarter and then started taking things away.